Okay, this is Steve from Midlands Metalheads Radio. I'm at HRH Prog 7 in Metalheads, Wales, and I'm speaking today with Time Collider. How you doing, guys?
Good.
Excellent. We're obviously up against the clock today because the band are performing an acoustic set in about 20 minutes. So tell us a little bit about the band.
Well, we started about 2 years ago, wasn't it?
A couple of years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and we just started writing. I actually found him in a covers band, and then...
No, I found you in a covers band.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, I write my own music, and he was like, oh, let me have a listen. And he was like, can you do this in 7? I was like, yeah, all right, yeah.
Yeah, in 10 minutes you were jamming over it, that's right.
Yeah, it just started.
9 minutes he was jamming in 10, and 15 minutes he was in 21/4, so that's how it was going.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I was like, the next week I was like, oh, what do you think of a 42/8 section?
Yeah, that's right, I didn't come round for a week after that.
I had to have a lie down in a dark room, didn't you? Yeah, but yeah, it's been good ever since.
Do you all come from a prog background?
No.
I come from a prog background. I've been playing prog for years. And I kind of wanted to get something together that wasn't prog. So I looked especially for non-prog type people, because I think they bring a new elements and new influences into the odd time signature kind of world, the prog world. So Tommy kind of liked his speed metal, and we had Dave is in his own punk world is quite famous in the punk world. So Dave the punk rocker. We've got JJ on bass, who's a cellist. And I thought, well, that's not very prog. So JJ's here, and we've got the great blues man and AOR fan, Adrian here, who brings in a really nice blues influence, a straightforward feel onto something over the top that's quite mixed up. So get us together, and it has the Time Collider unique prog.
So what exactly am I doing?
Yeah, don't forget Chris.
You're in Hayes. So
I'm in the wrong interview.
Yeah. Chris has brought, even this morning. We've actually been together as a band for 48 hours, so it's been really good fun. And this morning we were working out our acoustic set. We had 5 minutes in between cups of tea, Dave. Dave's tea intake. We managed to get the kettle back for 5 minutes, and whilst doing so, Chris got out his bouzouki and brought a new folk influence to our prog metal set. So this acoustic set this afternoon is going to be very, very interesting. I can't wait to do it. Yeah. And we actually didn't want to over-rehearse the set because we were laughing so much and enjoying ourselves so much with the bouzouki coming out. Okay. We just said, let's just save it for the stage. Yeah. So we are going to there'll be a lot of smiles on stage. Yes. When we do the acoustic set in a few
one reason or another.
Yes.
I don't think there's enough humour in prog. I think it's a lot of people tend to take it a bit serious and po-faced, and I think there's certainly, room for humour and comedy I like to see that on stage, So I think we're hoping to get an entertaining set from you guys.
I think it's important. I think music has always been there to entertain. I don't think it should be taken too seriously. I think you've always got to have some sort of element where you can laugh.
Yeah, I think the humour on stage is kind of musicians enjoying themselves and enjoying what they're doing, looking around and trading off each other while you're playing, and enjoying the space and the time you're in and what you're doing. And I think that's the positive element we get from it, and something I really cherish after doing it for a lot of years. So, yeah.
You've only got the one album. Is it Travel Conspiracy?
Yeah, we are a new prog band. It may not look like we're that new, but we are a new prog band. One album, Travel Conspiracy. We wrote it in one afternoon. I'm going to say this because Tommy and I just sat there and we just went, and a whole linear line of music came out from what we were putting together. And Tommy sat there afterwards and went, "Oh, there's the album then, Fudge." I went, "Hang on." Then we had to do a bit of arranging, and then we came out with the album. And here it is, yes. So we're already, I think, 3, possibly 4 songs into the second album.
Oh, wow.
The second album and the songs coming out, very excited because they're all rounded. We've got Tommy's super duper melodic vocals. Tommy's great at stacking harmony on top of the main vocal. It's awesome. I mean, that, I've got to say, I know he's a singer in the band, but I mean, that's really impressive. You'll see that in the Time Collider music now. But the new songs are kind of rounded, and his harmonies work, I think, within a smaller amount of song length, and I think dramatically and also dynamically the songs are much better. and we're playing one today, which I think is going to be Achilles' Heel. It's on YouTube, Achilles' Heel. You can see half the song on Achilles' Heel with Tommy standing in the field because the sun was going down. We made 2.5 videos in one day, and the sun was setting behind this field. It's lovely, lovely clover field, and we had to just stop filming. So that's why there's only half of Achilles' Heel on YouTube. But that gives you a taste of what's coming on the new album, and we play the whole song today. So anybody who's here today and hears the set can hear Achilles' Heel, and that's the direction we're going in. We wanted to do another new song, but we just, for various reasons, couldn't quite get that in there. So you're going to get nearly the whole first album and the song from the second album. So.
What I liked about it as an outsider, coming in as an outsider, is I liked the music anyway, because it wasn't sort of 100% prog, it wasn't too many, sort of changes and what have you, but I think when Fudge first said, would you be interested in, lending your punk rock attack to this thing, one of my first questions was, one thing I really liked about it was the lyrics, because I didn't want to really, I didn't want to really sing about elves and the sort of and the life and do a triple album on the life cycle of the tsetse fly or something like that, But I think Tom's lyrics are really universal. You can read them and you can make them your own sort of thing. So I thought that was very, very different to a lot of prog stuff where I like them. There's a lot of prog stuff I really like the music, but lyrically it's not for me. I don't really get it. But I get this. I really like it.
And A Press Finesse is one of the songs off the album, and I think that's worth checking the lyrics out with the current political state. That's a good song. Very now.
A lot of the lyrics are. There's two songs that are tied into each other. It's a bit proggy, but for the most part, they're about about government, conspiracies, and things. Hence the title of the album. And I like to be quite. I say clever. I like to try to be clever. I think it's clever, but whether other people do or not. That's up to them, but I try to be quite clever with my lyrics, and I really think about the lyrics very carefully. But I don't like to do topics that are too strange. Do you know what I mean? I don't want.
You're very current affair with it.
Yeah, I want topics to really resonate with just the everyday person, if possible.
And that's why I call them universal.
Yeah,
because you can read them and you can sort of. And I might say to you, "I love this song about whatever," and you go, "Oh, it's not about that at all, Glenn. It's about this." Well, I've interpreted it for me.
I think that's important to let each person who's listening to music interpret it how they want.
I think it's one of the difficult things in interviews. I could talk about False Messiah and that song, and it's kind of what it means to me and who you follow, that kind of thing. But somebody else might listen to it, as Dave just said, and they might find something else into it. I think maybe bands don't really want to tell you what the lyrics are about, possibly, because it is a personal interpretation. But yeah, current, for sure.
Because, obviously music's always been an option for people to stress their interests, and their opinion, put that across, going back to Bob Dylan, it's always been what they call it, a platform, to air your views, So would you feel that that's what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I think we were sort of generally looking at the last album's lyrics, reflecting on sort of current affairs, really, and our take on it, asking questions about what do you think, how it affects you. That's kind of where most of the lyrics are about on the album.
But don't forget the music. There's some really, like I say, I'm speaking as an outsider because I wasn't involved in the first album in terms of the writing and stuff. And I think there's some truly beautiful stuff on there. There's some truly complicated stuff on there, and then there's just some all-out rocking stuff that's going to make young people lose their underwear.
Dave wants to edit it.
Fantastic.
Now we know what Dave joined.
We got him in for the underwear.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Dave also wants to edit it because Dave comes from like a punk background. I think he's played with UK Subs. He's played with Glenn Matlock from the Sex Pistols.
Okay.
Toured America. I can't really go into what Dave's done, so we're very, very lucky. But he's listening to a lot of the choruses on the Time Collider album and going, "Oh, fudge, that could be like a 2 or 3 minute song, and I can edit it down, and we can make it this and that." So. Who knows how this is going to go? But this is the great thing, as I said earlier on, about having all the different influences from everybody here in the band. Everybody's kind of excited for their own very personal reasons about the music we're doing, which is really exciting. And you've got that, gives you the energy for the next album in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, who knows? It's all very new. We spent more hours together in a van than we have rehearsing.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Unfortunately, some of the members of the band are very new, as we've had some lineup changes, haven't we? Quite last minute. So, but everyone's coping okay.
Well, basically, initially you had the songs. You had the songs. You wanted to get in a recording. You sort of got the people who were really good for the recording and stuff, and then it was time to go live, and you had to sort of change things around, and here we are.
Absolutely.
And so, would you say that the next album is going to be a major departure from the first one?
Not
It's
as
gonna,
such.
with the sort of the harmonies, the way Tom writes the harmonies. I mean, that's really where it is with our sound predominantly. So that's going to be there through the next album, and I think the music underneath. Now we've kind of learnt the craft of rounding the arrangements and the music underneath it. Those combinations are going to make it sound really sweet. So it will. Maybe the songs might be a little shorter, possibly, but certainly the harmonies. And once you hear the Time Clouder album, you hear the harmonies, how that's working. You enjoy that side of it, the melodic side. I think you'll enjoy the next one too.
I think it's going to have a lot more influence in it. My initial influence for the first album was to be really a very hard-hitting rock album with prog elements, like different time signatures and stuff, with very strong choruses in 4/4, but for the most part. I don't think there's one song on that first album that classes a ballad, really. But the next album's going to be a little bit more arty, a little bit more thought in it, and still have that rocky element, but I just think a little bit more refined. I think that's the second
If you could pick one song off the first album to define your sound, which track would you pick?
I only managed to get it down to 3.
It'd be different for everyone, wouldn't it? For me, it's BU. I think it's all the elements.
I go with BU.
It's got all the elements, rocking chorus, some beautiful stuff going on, and some complicated stuff, and then just all out, balls to the wall.
Because I played Fiction Science.
I was about to say, I'd say Fiction Science for me is with the really all the crazy high vocals and things. That's for me. That's definitely an element of the band.
Yeah, give me 5.
Yeah. I really like high pitched vocals. I like being able to go up in the range because not many singers can do it, and if not many singers can do it, you should definitely do it.
Yeah. Do you think that obviously being a prog band, you have to try and sort of avoid all the cliches, like you were talking about lyrics about elves and stuff? Do you try to sort of go much the other way? To try and not fall into that trap.
Well, it's interesting you should say that because it's the only even slightly proggy thing that I was aware of before I started doing this was the Cardiacs. It's the only thing that I have that is even slightly proggy. So I don't have any real major influences that sway me, which is kind of good in a way.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I've got to say this. Do I stand a chance of name dropping? I think I did some jobbing with Steve Hackett. And I think he always wanted to use different musicians and having different influences in his music and his band. And I think I can't obviously speak for him, but I think that's something he likes. I remember going for the audition and I was kind of worried about it. And I said to his manager at the time, do you think I'm going to get the gig? He said, well, we've auditioned a drummer and he turned up and he played all the Genesis tracks. He was a Genesis fan, he knew all the Genesis stuff. And he kind of insinuated that because he just played like Genesis, it wasn't what they were looking for at the time. So that's kind of, I got that vibe from that time. And as we're saying, we're all different influences and different players. So I think that's a good thing.
I think as well with the new album, hopefully we'll get the opportunity of all the very new members of the band to kind of put their own style of playing and sound onto it.
Definitely.
So far, it's just been a mad scramble to learn somebody else's parts off the album to get it ready to gig live.
Absolutely.
Something, rather than trying to play what somebody else played on an album, now we're going to be contributing our own parts,
and I only just
our own different styles.
And I only just found out today you're a multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah.
So now we've got to get some other instruments in there now. We've just got to avoid the flutes and the sort of cliche things as much as we can. But
so there'll probably be a bonus track of 3 minutes 40 seconds in 4/4. So
absolutely, absolutely.
Because you've had John Jett.
John Jett was part of the band for quite a while, and he was great, but he left for whatever reason. Unfortunately, he doesn't get to play this gig. But we do, so that's okay.
His loss.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He is a good player, though.
Some people just enjoy the studio and don't particularly.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. John just said it's a lot of work for what we're currently doing at the moment. To get a whole set together for one gig was a lot of work. He just felt with his other commitments that he wasn't unable to give that time to us to do the gig. So anybody out there that's looking for a JJ performance, we're going to have another JJ performance. Because ironically, that's JJ also. So there we go, a different JJ. But yeah, that was unfortunate. But yeah, John's great. We went up to Birmingham, recorded his bass with a chap called Mark Westwood, who some people may have heard of. And we had a lovely time, got on really well. Got that all recorded, came back. When I gave John the schedule of all this rehearsal down in Cornwall, then we drive to Wales, which is 377 miles, for 1 hour 17 minutes. I think he just went, I just couldn't do it. So yeah, that's the only reason why John's not doing it. Stephen Bennett, you may know through Tim Bowness, and I played with Steve way back when we were kids in the band called The Host, La Host. And he's been an old friend for years. We've always been in touch. And I just called him up when I got the Time Collider project going, so would you play keyboards? He said, yeah, that would be absolutely wonderful. So he did, and we had a lovely reunion as it is, and he did the keyboards. Again, his commitments in his life are such that having time to play live is difficult. He's also, him and I have also worked on another project with Clive Minton, Sea Life Collective. That's now becoming busy. And again, Steve can't make those days because of his private life and what he's doing there at the moment. So it's just getting time for people to play things. But then moving on, we've got JJ on bass, Aid came in on guitar, Chris is in on keyboards, and it's been great because JJ's like an end whistle bass player, which is lovely. So he's kind of there and the fingers going and it's nice. And he's got a growling fifth string, which I fell in love with on the first night. That was lovely.
And he's really into cocaine and hookers.
This does get edited.
I think JJ will not left in.
He doesn't mind.
Definitely the wild member.
So the Sea Life Collective, weren't they meant to play this weekend?
Yes, they were. Clive Minton is a very complex person in many ways. The music's very complicated, and he wants to present his music in the best way he possibly can. Simply with the turnaround of the time constraints on the festival, when you're not the live act, is obviously
Headline act.
The main act, headline act. It's very tight. We played Summer's End, Winter's End Festival back in April. And simply the sheer amount of kind of equipment that has to be set up and tested and sound checked just really wasn't, just purely as a festival situation, not really viable to do. So Clive just couldn't do that gig because of the technical side of it. So unfortunately, he's not doing it. But we are playing next Friday, in fact, at the Water Rats in London, Gray's Inn Road, with Sea Life Collective. Both me and Dave are in the backing band for Clive. So we're leaving here and then we're going up to London to start rehearsing there for 4 days.
Oh wow!
The gig on Friday, which we're looking forward to. So that's lovely music to play. So it's busy. So that's why Clive couldn't do the gig, simply because of the restraints. I think he's just got to refine his technical setup, so it's faster to set up. But so that's why that's not happening, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, guys, it's been absolutely brilliant speaking with you. Thank you very much for your time. You've literally got 10 minutes to get over to stage to do your acoustic. So have a good set, and we'll hope to catch you later.
Thank you
very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.